So let's get on our feet as we welcome our chief guest, Mr. Johnson Mwakazi, as he makes his way onto stage. Welcome. Karibu sana.
You may kindly have your seats. It's an honor to be with you this afternoon. My great thanks really today, courtesy of this event, I want to appreciate Mr. and Mrs. Paul Mukoma Makofi out of Tafadhali. Thank you so much for the honor. Really appreciate. Makofia, Mr. Sheru as well. Asante San, thank you so much. I also want to appreciate the speakers who came before me. Mr. Koigi, Makofia Ketafadari. And Mr. Kinuthia, Asante San. And Makofia to the Talanta Institute, big time. And Mr. Edwin, it's such a great honor to meet you again. Mr. Edwin followed up this invitation, so makofi yake tafadhali. And there is something that I learnt. You say, I am a champion. You want to repeat? I am a champion.
I'm a champion.
I am a winner.
I am a winner.
And the third?
The third? Can we have a third, someone?
The third somebody? Huh? I am strong in the Lord. That's so powerful. I won't take much of your time. I'll give you a brief about my story, then I give you 2 points. Is that okay? My name is Johnson Mwakazi. If you forget about Johnson, if you forget about Mwa, please don't forget about what?
Kaz.
What?
Kaz.
Kazi means? Work. You know, in this day and age, work is becoming a curse word. In a time where there is sports pesa, there is betting, very few people are still committed to working. Now, my good friends from Cameroon say, you are beautiful, but please learn how to work, because you cannot eat your beauty. Did you hear that? You cannot eat your beauty. My quick story begins in Kibra. How many people know Kibra? Put your hand up if you know Kibra. Thank you so much. Very quickly, I was born in Kibra. I studied there. My mother used to work as a cleaner in town, earning about 3,000 shillings. After my secondary education, I remember the principal of that school before we left, he said, secondary education is but basic education. It won't take you anywhere. So I knew if I don't make it to the university, I am done. After 2 years, I give thanks to God, I was called to come to Kenyatta University, but my mother couldn't pay the admission fees, so it was written on the wall that I had to survive. I got into the world of carrying stones, water, selling hot pots in the city of Nairobi, trying to get something. But then luckily, there was a smaller version of Talanta Institute in Kibra, a youth group that was training on theater. So I joined the group and we were taught skits and all that. So we would go to the streets of Kibra and train people. We would have like a crowd pooling session and people would think we are fighting, and then we would train them on drug abuse and all that. And we would be paid about 200 shillings. And that really helped. Over time, I continued on. I joined the Kenya National Theatre. From there, I was acting in a skit. And there was a gentleman in the audience who said, I want to really know more about that gentleman. Later on, I realized he was the head of radio, Hot 96. And he asked me, Johnson, can you read news? And I said, yes. And that started my career in radio without a paper, but with the skills to use my voice, to read, apart from just being a radio presenter, I started doing commercials. You know voiceovers. You know what a voiceover is? You know them? Yeah, so I learned that as well. The art of just using your voice, your talent. And after 2 years working in radio, Citizen TV was looking for a news anchor. And so they said, there's this good voice on radio. Can we give him an opportunity on TV? And during my 2 years on radio, I used to read in front of a mirror every single time. So by the time I was shown a camera and I was reading, it was purely part of my exercise. And so boom, I was told, I remember it was on Friday, I was in front of a camera doing an exercise, but on Monday I was on TV live. Another quick example, thank you so much. Another quick example, even before Citizen, even before radio, I was still in Kibra trying to survive, living in a muddy house, trying to survive literally. And at one point, do you know where Mwakazi hospital is? Yeah, at one time there was a meeting and I was called. It was a function like this, but they were talking about health. And so I was invited, just like the teams that came. Amazing song. Wapigie makofi. That final song, that's a powerful team. So I was called and the guests were seated just like this. I came in front and I was given an opportunity to recite a poem for 2 minutes. And I recited a 1.5 minute poem. I went back, sat at the back just like those, that gentleman and the ladies are seated and the other gentleman. And this guy comes in just like Mr. Mukoma would come. And he said, I want to invite that gentleman to recite the same poem during the World Health Assembly in Geneva, Switzerland. Just like that. They didn't know about my background in terms of school. They didn't know anything about my qualifications in school. They just saw something and he said, you know what? This guy needs to present the same thing. It was my first time to go to JKIA, my first time to board a plane, my first time to leave Africa, and my first time to go to Switzerland. It gave birth to so many opportunities in Australia, in Papua New Guinea, and that was my life starting from there. So by the time I got to Citizen TV, God had really opened doors for me. How? Through the talent that I had. Friends, 2 things very quickly as I come to the close of my talk. The first thing that I've come to realize, and if you have notes, you want to take this down. This is the first statement. Do not judge a day by what you harvest. Do not judge a day by what you harvest, but by the seeds you plant. But by the seeds you plant. Listen to me. Every single day is an opportunity for you to plant a seed, and in the future you will begin to reap from what you planted. All of you, if you have a talent, you only have a seed that needs to grow up, not to become a big tree alone, but to bear fruits. Do you ever see mango trees selling mangoes along Thika Road? But we go to mango trees and get the mangoes. We don't get the mangoes from the mango trees because we love the trees. No! We only love the mangoes. So you as a seed, don't be happy that you are a big tree known, but what are your fruits? Because that's what people will come to you for. And the beauty is once you begin to bear fruits, people will come for you. But I want to add another pointer there. I want to add another pointer there as I come to my final point. You need to write this down. The pain of discipline lasts for a short time. But the pain of regret lasts for a whole lifetime. In the process of building, nurturing that seed, you will have to go through some painful moments. You think it was the 1.5 minute moment that gave me that opportunity? No. Every other morning, in the morning at 5 a.m., I used to go to a field to work on my voice. I was being trained. So by the time I was given 2 minutes, I was literally bringing forth what I was doing in darkness. Working on my talent, working on my talent. And if you read a book titled Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell, he will tell you, if you want to be an expert in any kind of field, you need to put in 10,000 hours of practice. Regardless of whether you have talent. You can have talent and still remain where you are. But the person who every single day puts in hours in working, will get all the opportunities as you just see them. It's not magic. And that's why Talanta Institute, the good thing about an institution is that they set programs for you. It's like going to the gym. You can work out in your home, but you can work out today, tomorrow you will feel tired. But in an institution, there is a program. That's why you're in school. Whether you feel like it, whether you feel you want to do it, whether it's raining, discipline says, I must work on my talent. I want to finish up with this final point. You know, I said what? My name is Johnson Mwakazi. If you forget about Johnson, you forget about Mwa, you don't forget about what? Absolutely. Your talent is not there so that you are just known or you become famous. You can be famous and sleep hungry. You can be known across the country and the world and you have nothing in your bank account. In other words, as a person talented, you need to think about business. You need to become a business person. Johnson Mwakazi, I am a walking business. Are you one? Are you a walking? You need to become a walking business. That team, you sang so well. I don't know how far you've gone in terms of business. Because at the end, we don't want to say, oh, fairs, you need to sort that out. And it requires another level of thinking. Not, oh, I have a voice. No. You've got to think business. And you cannot think business if you're thinking locally. In other words, by the time you have talent, you need to be a global citizen, not a local citizen. Like that team, you need to begin to look at yourself and say, where do we feature in the global field? Just because you sang here, it doesn't make you great. You might be great here, but once we leave the stage, people are hawakujui. But if you begin to challenge yourself, 4 in the morning, 4 a.m., look at the top team and say, we've got to work, we've got to get, not the Kenyan teams. You're looking at the global perspective. And by the time you look at yourself like that, even when people clap for you, that's nothing. You don't live for the claps. You don't live for the wow. No. You're constantly pushing yourself. And that's where the business side comes in. And if you grow big, people pay big for your service. But if you're still small, you get a small salary. They say, if you're still a baby, don't expect an adult salary. So if you're still a baby in your talent, don't expect to be paid as an adult salary. And once you have an institution that tells you, we want to train you in the area of your talent, they're also looking at the industry ahead. You're not just working on your talent simply because you have it, but you have an end to it. I close my case with this story. Are you ready for a story? It's a Greek mythology. It's a story about a gentleman called Narcissus. Narcissus was this handsome man. You know, if history says so and so was handsome, you really want to believe it. Now, this gentleman was absolutely handsome. Now, this is what he used to do. Every single morning, he would go to a lake and he would kneel down and look at his reflection and just admire himself. And just admire. He was handsome and he knew it. Until one day, while he was kneeling next to the lake, all of a sudden, something happened and he fell inside the lake and drowned. What a story. What a story. Sad ending. But you know, your end can just be like Narcissus. All you do is sing and listen to your own music. You go look at yourself in the mirror and admire yourself. Until you translate that talent to something that can go out and even bring money. And not only money, touch lives in thousands and millions, where you add value to people. You will die in your mirror. You will die looking at yourself, admiring yourself. And all the claps that come with it. One day we will say, he went. And we don't know when he went. He just left. Friends, don't judge a day by what you harvest, but by the seeds you plant. Number 2, the pain of discipline lasts for a short time, but the pain of regret lasts for a whole lifetime. And finally, yes, think business, think globally, because you are a walking business. Thank you so much, and God bless you.